the story. The story. The story is like this. You think, everybody thinks the story of Haman, Achashverosh, that something almost happened, and then it didn't happen, and that's a miracle. And it's a miracle that is vested in nature, it's a Lubish in Teva. But the language that the Arizal writes, and this is the foundation, the Torah Ari, based on the Zohar, and then eventually it's the way it's articulated by the Hasidic masters. The Lashon of the Ari is that it was a tzara atzuma. It was a very, very big problem. Purim, the story of Purim, the Arizal writes that Haman was a astrologus, gadol, astrologus. Jordan, what's astrologus?
Astrologer.
Exactly. Futurist. It doesn't say futurist. It says Haman was astrologus gadol, and it says about Zeresh Yishtoi Machashefa, not Machashefa. And she was a scientific gadol. What's astrologus gadol? What does it mean that Haman was a big astrologer?
Big scientist.
He wasn't a scientist. He was an astrologer.
Not big enough.
First of all, if you said l'chaim, you would know. It seems like, I don't know, it's a gay. What?
It's gay. Keep going.
It's on.
It's very gay, Rabbi L'chaim.
Chaim.
Yes, you're right. Correct.
Simcha, Purim is your day. Purim is Mama's your day. So the story is like this. The Arizal teaches like this, that there was once a relationship that was called panim al panim, face to face. And there's a relationship that's called acher ba'acher, back to back. And in between the acher ba'acher, back to back relationship, there's a process that's called dormito, that's called slumber. And in that slumber, there's an asira, there's a great dividing. Do you know what I'm talking about? I'll explain to you what this means. Rosh Hashanah, yeah? When two Adam and Chava, this is, by the way, this is not a pilpul, and if you're hearing this as a pilpul, then you didn't say enough l'chaim.
Chaim.
Thank you for joining. At least someone saying l'chaim. Zeke, you have to say l'chaim to get out of your head. L'chaim.
What head it is. Dormita.
What? Dormita. Tardema. Sleep. The story of Adam and Chava is that Adam and Chava were one. Back to back, according to one opinion. Acher ba'acher. Back to back. Back to back means it's a zivuk tzmidi. They're always constantly connected. And then Adam goes to sleep, and it's not Adam, it's Adam and Chava. And in the sleep, Hashem takes Echad Mitzaloisov, one of his sides, her side, and now Adam and Chava are two separate beings, and they're having an encounter, which is called panim al panim, face to face. So in between acher ba'acher, back to back and face to face, so when there's a back to back relationship, for example, a back to back relationship would be a parent and a child. What does it mean back to back? You never encounter your child, a 2-year-old, in a real way. Of course, you're present with them and you're attentive to them, but you're not asking a 2-year-old a real question. You think maybe it's a good idea for you to go to sleep? Or maybe you shouldn't stuff your mouth with gum. It's not a conversation. The parent is the dominant person in the relationship, and the child is attached to the parent on the hip. So the encounter is, the image of the encounter is that they're back to back, but they're together, they're one body. Wherever the parent goes, that's where the child goes. The child doesn't say, I don't want to go, I do want to go. Certainly if they're maybe they do, and eventually they start getting a little older. What do we feel in a relationship with a parent and a child? You feel the parent. But it's acher ba'acher. So the Ari says that up until the end of the Churban Bayis Rishon, until the end of the destruction of the first Beis Hamikdash, the relationship that we had with Hashem was acher ba'acher. We were back to back. The relationship was timidius. It was constant. We always felt connected with Hashem. But we didn't have a genuine encounter with God. What does that mean? It means that at that time period, everything was about the stronger partner. It was about God. And if a Navi, and if he wanted to connect to the wisdom of creation and the Creator, the way to receive this wisdom was to fall down on the ground, was to cease being self in order for it to have a transmission to something that's beyond self. So it was a miraculous time. It was a Gilui HaShekhinah, the revelation was revealed, but it was back to back. Hashem wanted a deeper relationship with us. But in order for this relationship to occur, you had to say L'chaim. They just? Shh. My eyes are not like they used to be, so I wasn't sure if I'm mamish seeing you or if I'm seeing a malach that looks like you. I think maybe it's a malach. I don't think it's a person. L'chaim, they just L'chaim. You're following? Jordan, I can't see you. Okay, good. Let's not get the point. So what happens is that the relationship has to go from a back-to-back to a face-to-face. But what happens when the back-to-back, if two people are sewn together, they're attached, and now they have to split apart so they become face-to-face, that's the time that you don't recognize and you're not attached any longer. A metaphor, a mashal of this would be, is like a teenager, adolescence. When a child is connected to a parent, it's acher ba'acher, it's back to back, it's constant. Then the child wants to gain dependence, and the child and the parent are moving apart. But the purpose of the moving apart is to get face to face, so they can actually have a genuine encounter with each other. And Golus, exile, is the Nasira. Exile is the Nasira. And just imagine like this. Two people are together, back to back, and they're slowly moving outwards to come face to face. So the moment right before they turn to be face to face, they're the furthest apart. So at the end of the exile is the harshest darkness. Right before there's a redemption, right before there's a turning point, we'll be face to face. That's the harshest darkness. That's why it was a tzara atzuma. It was a terrible time, because it was 70 years after Golus. It was about we're almost there. At the end of 70 years, there's a miscalculation exactly of the years, and then we felt what just happened. We were close. For many years, we had an intimate relationship. All of a sudden, we're so far apart that I don't even feel Hashem's presence anymore. We lost our happiness.
That's what caused them not to feel it.
We lost our hope. We lost all vision, and we felt very dark. And Haman was a big astrologer. What Dari means is that Haman understood that L'keim shel Yisrael yashanu, that Hashem Kaviyachal is sleeping. This is a very dark time. Okay, we'll stop over here. We have to get to what how to deal with darkness, but it's Purim. So l'chaim, everybody, l'chaim. Everyone shout l'chaim, not just say l'chaim. L'chaim, l'chaim, l'chaim.